Rams. The prep gladiators of the gridiron have carried the banner to the top of the mountain and looked down on all others who have tried to succeed. The role of David is played by Centennial High School. The Patriots are here for the first time in 6 years, and although most will doubt this team's chances of winning the big one, all wearing the maroon and silver believe that this is the night that is made of magic. To this, we invite you to climb aboard and ride with us to the State High School A1 Football Championship. Put on your seatbelt. We're at Holt Arena, where tonight it'll be the Centennial Patriots with a record of 7-2, taking on the highly touted Highland Rams of Pocatello, undefeated at 9-0 and the #1 team in all of Idaho. And how do and welcome from wherever you're watching across the state. Dave Tester along with Bart Hull, where we bring you the Milk Bowl. And I guess if you want to drink and have yourself a mustache after this, Bart, you've got to get through the Rams, who have not lost a game in, 21 tries.
Well, this is a team that is certainly the class of Idaho high school football, but this Centennial team has been playing with only 40 players the whole year. They had to bring up 18 players from their sophomore team, and they finally said they looked like a team during warm-up.
Now, you talked a little bit about early in the season. Centennial took on this team right here. They lost. Can they come back tonight and win?
Well, the coaches say that turnovers killed them early. Their first 2 kickoff returns, they fumbled, and Highland capitalized and scored 2 touchdowns. They said they played the rest of the game evenly, but they're playing catch-up, and they don't need to have early turnovers tonight.
It's the game everybody works up to, the state championship. The A1 title on the line. We'll be back to Pocatello with the kickoff right after this.
The mystery of the blinking.
I'm back in the dome where we're set for kickoff. Jeff Caves, we understand that one side doesn't have all the players they had planned on.
Eric Atwood, linebacker senior for Centennial, has twisted his ankle in the pregame warm-ups, Dave. He is out. That means they'll go with a combination of guys. Look for Centennial in their first defensive stand and see what kind of adjustments they make. Dave?
All right, Jeff Caves will be keeping us posted throughout the game on all the happenings. And Bart, Jeff told us last week when we were doing the New Mexico State Boise State game that after a touchdown, he will actually interview one of the players as they catch the ball. Well, after they celebrate.
Well, you could do that in high school football. It's not as stringent as a college game would be, and you can grab a player right off the sideline, and he'll be pumped to say hi to his parents on TV.
Brian Kemp is set to kick off the ball. You get a look at the Highland Rams, who are ready to go. Of course, the dangerous man is number 24. He's on the left side of your screen. I should say number 25. He is Brock Forsey. On the season, he has been Mr. Everything for Centennial. And Bart, I think we can say how Brock Forsey goes, at least with the running game, is how Centennial will go today.
Well, that's the way it has to be. They can't just depend on their super quarterback, Matt Swanson, for everything. To set up a good passing game, the defense has to respect the running game.
Well, we're ready to play some football. We hope you are too, as Kemp boots it. And this one looks like it's going to roll out of bounds, and that's the case. And so that means Centennial will actually start with a break to get things going. And early on, and Lee Newman talked to both of us about this, when they played at the beginning of the season and lost this game, they made some major mistakes, and right now that certainly helps. There's the front line led by Mike Smith, the man in the middle. They are a veteran crew. Abe Swenson will catch a couple of balls, but he's a fine blocker for you. And, of course, the guy that will be manning the controls, Brock Forsey at the running back spot, but Matt Swanson is the man of the moment as he brings his team up to the 35-yard line, and we're ready to play some football. Swanson on the season, 2,162 yards passing. That's not too bad, and that's why a number of Division I-A football teams are looking at Forsey. The first play from scrimmage in the Milk Bowl, 1996, the A1 title on the line. Swanson back to pass. He's got a man breaking along the sidelines. In and out of the hands of Jeff Jones. So Jones reaching deep into Highland territory, couldn't bring it in.
Wow, what a way to open a championship game with the quarterback just dropping back and letting one loose.
This is a defensive unit that's only allowed 230 yards a game, and on the season, Bart, just 11 touchdowns. They are not a very big defense, but they are very active. And the guy leading the way is linebacker Randy Bauer. Bauer on the season, 52 tackles unassisted and 7 sacks. As Swanson brings the troops up on 2nd down and 10. Of course, Centennial getting the big break on the kickoff going out of bounds. They give it off to Forsey, and he takes the ball and maybe picks up a couple of yards. Forsey on the season, a guy that's got good numbers, Bart, over 1,000 yards rushing, 500 receiving.
Well, here's a guy who definitely is the cog in this offense that makes it run and opens up the passing game. I think if he has any chance of opening this game up, he has to be successful with the running game there.
Centennial played for the state title in 1988, 1989, and 1990. They won the title in 88. In 1990, they lost to Pocatello the last time they were here, 27-14. Third down and 8 for the Patriots as Swanson again goes to the air, and he can run. As Swanson tries to get enough for the first down, he won't get there as the Highland defense there, and you can see how quickly that they can close, Bart.
Well, Brady Brower did an excellent job of an open field tackle there. Swanson, a dangerous runner as well as passer. And Brower comes up out of nowhere. It looks like Swanson's got all kinds of room here. He doesn't see what he likes. Spins out of it, a la Doug Flutie. And here comes Brower out of nowhere, and a fine job with the open field tackle.
So Centennial cannot convert on third down, so back to punt will be Matt Swanson as he looks at Jeff Davenport, number 17, and Ray Garcia. Swanson, the multi-talented athlete, boots it. Taking it will be Davenport. Davenport bobbles the ball, and Centennial has it. The Patriots come up with maybe, at least right now, Bart, the play of the evening.
Oh, it's a fine punt by Swanson, and the return man, Jeff Davenport, seems a little confused, maybe up in the lights, or there's a Centennial man there, but he just drops it. And Abe Swenson, one of the wide receivers, the man of the moment, jumps on it. We talked about the turnovers that hurt Centennial in the first game, and now it looks like the turnovers have helped them in the beginning of this game.
Recovery by Abe Swenson, who is playing in his last prep football game. The Patriots are back in business at the 21 and knocking on the door, so let's see if they can turn this opportunity into a score of some sorts.
You know, I bet they go to the end zone right away, Dave.
Swanson looking for his first completion on the roll. And he's got a lot of room the other way if he just tucks it and runs. As the senior, he is pushed out of bounds across the 12-yard line, and now you begin to understand why Arizona State, the University of Washington, have invited this young man to come and visit their university.
Well, they do go for the end zone on the first try. Just Swanson didn't see what he liked. He had a little bit of running room on this side, but always trying to make something happen, look for an open receiver. Tucks it. Nice little gain there for the Centennial Patriot.
So Swanson picks up 8 yards, and it'll be second down and 2. We're just underway. If you joined us late, the Patriots couldn't do it in their first 3 downs. They booted it away, and next thing you know, they come up with the fumble, and that's where the Patriots are operating as John Root. And I hear some of the crowd chanting Root, Root, almost like Moose on the Dallas Cowboys. There's the guys that will be calling all the, we can't really say balls and strikes, but we can tell you tonight that the officiating crew will be keeping track of this one, and a fine crew that has made the Milk Bowl 96. We're hoping you're enjoying our exclusive coverage on Channel 6, the A1 title game. The Patriots trying to pull off the upset earlier in the season. Highland won 35-7, the second game of the season. As Forsey carries the football, and Brock maybe picks up a couple of yards, and this is where it really gets tough, Bart, as Jamie Jaruski makes the big stop.
Well, Centennial's D-line has the advantage, definitely. I don't think these weather conditions have too much to do with the game right now. This is perfect football right here.
Well, what they do is mentally they make you think, man, I'm glad I'm inside. As a number of the Patriot fans who made this journey from Boise told us, we're glad to be indoors. Second down and 7. Swanson rolling. He's yet to complete a pass. Oh, he's tripped up. A nice play by Brandy Bauer, the middle linebacker. And we can tell you from throughout the season, Swanson's used to getting away from that, but Bauer is a new kind of linebacker.
Well, Brower's been all over the field. He's made all 3 tackles on offensive plays that Swanson has carried the ball. He's a guy who is all over the field, and I think he's going to be the one man that the Centennial line has to contend with this whole game.
Bart, are you surprised that Matt can't find anybody to throw the football to? It seems like he's had a lot of time, although he's been scrambling.
Well, Highland is a team that is very well coached and very disciplined. I'm not surprised at all. Early in the games, a lot of the time, the defense is very tight.
There are 5 receivers in this formation for the Patriots. So Lee Newman pulling everything out. Forsey throws it deep. He's got a man. Touchdown! Nick Hilton, the 6'4", big man, makes the grab, and there's bedlam in the dome.
Well, Nick Hilton didn't have to use any of his 6'4" frame on this one. It was a little underthrown by Swanson, and he just chucks it into the end zone. And 6'4" or not, you got to be able to go down for the low ones too. And an excellent catch. Great concentration with double coverage.
Nick Hilton with only his 2nd touchdown on the season puts his club up at 6-0, and Ben Tanner trying to add the finishing touches. And just like that, Centennial has jumped out to the 7-0 lead over #1 ranked Highland. Maybe another upset in the making. We'll be back right after this. 7-0, Patriots up early. Jeff Caves, what's the word on the Patriots sideline? Are they going crazy?
Yeah, they're really excited. A couple of quick updates. If you look closely at the Patriot offensive line, Adam Nielsen is number 74. No name on the back of his jersey. He's a sophomore, 6'6", 250, getting his first big start. After the touchdown, Matt Swanson was told by a coach, throw the ball away in the red zone, don't force it. You may not see that again, Dave.
All right, as the Patriots boot it, as Ray Garcia runs it, and he's shoved out of bounds at the 22-yard line. So the Rams, for the first time, will have an opportunity to see their offense and what they're made of. Tyler Wheatley is the man we'll be watching closely. He runs behind this very big line that was on the front page of today's paper, and all we can say is they filled up the entire front page. Must be big, huh, Bart?
Well, fairly big if you go by high school standards, but also very disciplined, very well coached.
Joe Green is the quarterback, the senior on the year, 2,100 yards, and the first time we see him operate out of the option as he gives it off to Wheatley, and Wheatley has nowhere to go.
Well, Dan Rasmussen, the outside linebacker, does a good job. It looked like the tailback was going to get outside on him, but he did a good job, made the shoestring tackle, and prevented a huge gain, made it into just a 1-yarder.
Steve Weber, the linebacker that calls all the plays for this team defensively. 75 tackles on the season. He's got a sack, but he still doesn't have a state title. That's what he'd like to take back to Boise. Just underway, 7 minutes, 41 seconds to go in the first quarter. The Patriots with the lead. Joe Green fires it incomplete. And coming up on the coverage was Dan Rasmussen, and Rasmussen already has 1 interception on the season. Scott Lee and Jake Gross, they are the bookends, the defensive ends between the two, with 9 sacks on the season. As far as the linebackers, they're a good group. Rasmussen, Weber, and Root, they lead the way for the Patriots. So it brings up a 3rd down and 9, and this may be one of the first games of the season, at least early on, that Highland, undefeated at 9-0, has been tested. They've been a juggernaut the last couple of years. The pass, and batted away again on the coverage, was Ben Sparrow, and he flew in there.
Well, the last 2 plays, the defense has been spectacular here for Centennial. Dan Rasmussen comes up and blocks the one in the flats, and then Ben Sparrow drives hard on the comeback. A little rollout by the quarterback, Mean Joe Green. Throws a nice ball, but Sparrow drives on it and does a good job batting it away.
So Dustin Davis will be forced to come in and punt the ball. Waiting for it will be Brock Forsey, who's averaging about 8 yards a return. As Davis gets a high one, and Forsey comes in and makes a nice play at the Highland 45. That takes a lot of guts to do that because, you know, everyone's waiting for you to clear the wedge.
Well, it takes a lot of guts, but it puts a lot of gray hairs on your coach's head I think they'd rather see that one bounce around and maybe get a great bounce for Centennial. But, you know, if you've got an athlete like that, why not have him step up and make the fair catch? Great field position.
Yeah, the Patriots obviously fired up, as is Mr. Rasmussen. Lee Newman, by the way, the head man for Centennial, played here at Idaho State. Some fond memories as he helped the Bengals to a national title in '81. He would like to get a state title on this same field. On the ground is Forsey, and this is where he's at his very best. Forsey could go all the way. 45 yards for Brock Forsey, and the Patriots lead it 13-0. Oh, boy.
You've got to credit part of that touchdown to the backside of the offensive line and the backside receiver. Andy Witcherly, a lot of times the backside receiver, when the play isn't to him, they take it off and they take a little jog in front of the DB. That time he was fighting the Highland cornerback all the way and gave the fine running back, Brock Forsey, room to cut it back and go right up the middle.
Tanner for the extra point. And after the 45-yard run by a man called Forsey, Centennial leads it 14-0. The first quarter is a wild one. Watch this play and just enjoy it.
Well, the play is originally set as an off-tackle play to the left, but Forsey has excellent vision and cuts it back right away. Breaks one tackle here, but look at the job blocking here by the wide receiver. Andy Witcherly does a good job, gives Forsey enough time to spring this run, and he's gone for 6. Also, you see, right before he cut it back, Kelly Frew, the tackle, came in and got a pancake block, and that sprung him too.
Forsey with his 7th touchdown on the season has Centennial on a roll, and I guess the key now is to keep that momentum out of the field. What does Coach Cutter tell his guys?
Well, you've got to tell them just to keep playing their own game. Don't get frustrated. Don't try and do too many things at once. It's only 2 scores. We're only halfway through the first quarter. You guys are the best team in the state. Keep doing what you got to do.
What tradition for Coach Cutter. He played here. He played at Highland. And then to come back and coach his team, as we told you, they've won 24 in a row. They're playing for their 3rd title in the last 4 years. Coach Brett Cutter already has 1 state championship at Pocatello, 1 here Highland last year. They have to make more room in the trophy cabinet at the Cutter House, which is all football. Here is the boot. Ray Garcia takes it at the 1-yard line, and Garcia, if he gets loose, look out. And Garcia is finally shoved out of bounds at the 32-yard line.
Well, Garza's an excellent runner. He's got good size, and he has outstanding vision.
Luckily, Centennial has such a good kicker. Ben Tanner comes up to make the stop.
He puts it right down to the goal line. What a fine play. But good blocking by Highland there. You see a big hole. Oh, and his teammates are going to give him a little bit of guff there. The kicker brought him down.
Green back to pass, gets it away, and it is complete. There'll be a holding call. Tyler Wheatley catches it, but the defender, Steve Weber, had Mr. Wheatley all wrapped up in a bushel bag. I think that's one of those you say, we're going to let go.
Well, depending on the more favorable of the 2 spots, they'll let one go.
Weber, of course, who is the spiritual leader, thinking, I shouldn't have given the guys 10 yards. That's what happened.
Holding against the defense, 10-yard penalty, first down.
That is, if you don't count the kickoff going out of bounds, that's our first major penalty of the ball game. Hoping you're enjoying Milk Bowl 1996. Dave Tester along with Bart Hull and Jeff Caves and the entire Channel 6 crew. It's a thrill. It's an honor to be bringing you this big football matchup. Earlier today, Napa Christian lost in their game, but the upset special at Parma defeating Glens Ferry for the A3 title. And hold everything as we've got a whistle. Either somebody jumped, which I'm thinking is the case. Wasn't it interesting, the Centennial fans' reaction when they said, Parma won that game? We can win our game.
Just an incredible job by the coaches there for Parma.
Against the defense, still first down.
They run that old style wing T and came out and stunned Glens Ferry that hasn't lost in about 3 years.
Jerry Kramer was certainly fired up, and why not, to see his son Imagine tomorrow he'll be watching another game, watching another son in Vandal colors. Of course, we'll be bringing you Boise State's matchup with the University of Idaho tomorrow. Kickoff is set for 1:30. Our pregame at 12:30, and don't forget at 10:30 tomorrow morning, Bishop Kelly and Snake River in the A2 title game. Off the option, it's Wheatley, and Wheatley, you find out what the big guy's made of here as he rambles his way for 20 yards into Centennial territory. And when you rush for over 1,300 yards, you're made of something very strong and quick.
Well, if you're going to play against a team that runs the option, you've got to have a disciplined defense. Every man has to have an assignment. One man takes the quarterback, one man takes the pitch man. Oh, the turf monster comes up and grabs him. The dreaded turf monster. Guys that aren't used to playing on turf, sometimes that guy will come up and grab you right by the shoe.
And Bart, what is intriguing about the artificial surface is these two teams are used to it, but when we get to the A2 game with Bishop Kelly, they are not used to it one bit. They've practiced on the blue of Broncos Stadium earlier in the week. They didn't like it. Snake River plays occasionally on turf, but these two teams play on turf all the time. This, of course, is Highland's home field, and the Patriots playing at home at Broncos Stadium. Wheatley again with the carry, and now all of a sudden Mr. Wheatley beginning to take over. And if you're wondering his build, 6'1", 200 pounds, and he runs about a 4.7, 4.8 40.
Well, pretty good size and not bad speed. This is just a little sprint draw. And he just lets some natural instincts take over, cuts it back here, and gains another couple of yards. Fine running back.
So Wheatley will pick up about 7 yards, and it'll bring up a 2nd down and 3. 5.5 minutes to go in Milk Bowl 1996, the A1 State Football Championship. So far going the way of the maroon and silver Centennial Patriots. Wheatley again. And this time Wheatley's got some running room before he's finally brought down by Matt Ferguson. And the home crowd hoping that their Highland team can get back in this ball game.
Well, Highland has used all sorts of plays this whole week. This is just a quick little trap up the middle, and once again, once you get past the line of scrimmage, it's all Wheatley's abilities making it happen. We've seen an option, we've seen off-tackle play, we've seen a sprint draw, and now we've seen a trap. This is a pretty diversified offense.
Of course, Highland's put a number of players into the college ranks. Shane Griggs, who was the quarterback of this team last year, is now the Idaho State quarterback. And a guy that you know in Boise, Brian Johnson, early in the season, he was starting at tight end. He plays just about any spot. Wheatley has a lot of real estate as he piles in for the touchdown. So Wheatley from 12 yards out gives Highland its first touchdown of the A1 championship game.
Well, there was that option again, and Centennial is having problems with their assignments. The quarterback is getting picked up, but nobody is picking up the running back. Usually it's the outside linebacker's job to come up and have the running back as his assignment. Someone is making an error there, and the coaches need to get on that right away.
The point after attempt by Ogden is no good. So in a sense, it is a break for Centennial as Highland marched it down the football field and culminated in this 12-yard run by Mr. Wheatley.
There you see the man picks up the quarterback, but where's the guy who's assigned to the running back? And from then, it's just Wheatley with all sorts of room. He's got to pick a spot to go into the end zone. He decides to go through a pile of guys instead of going in easy.
14-6, 4.5 minutes remaining in this first quarter with the Patriots on top.
There's Patriot Pete.
Yeah, last week we saw Pistol Pete, who was the mascot for New Mexico State. Of course, that's not the real name of Patriot Pete, but I like that name, Bart. Patriot Pete.
Well, that's the old
You're being patriotic.
The old New England Patriots. That's what they
Sure.
call their guy in the helmet. Exact same guy on the helmet. Why not? Patriot Pete.
I guess, Bart, what scared me in that drive, at least if you're watching from the Centennial sidelines, is the way Wheatley just pushed his way up the football field. What do you do to slow the big guy down, or can you?
Well, I think that's the question. Can you slow him down? I think they could stop the option by getting back to what they can do is get their assignments down. You've got to have one man on the quarterback and one man on the running back. Other than that, man, he's a load.
So far, a high-scoring affair as Ryan Kemp boots it deep into the end zone. And the ball will be downed. And that was a pretty wise decision for the Centennial Patriots.
Well, in high school, as soon as the ball crosses the goal line, they call it a touchback. I think they wanted to run that one out.
Well, certainly. Well, Bart, can you remember back to your high school?
Channel 6.
We lost every year.
I was telling a coach about old high school stories. One of the hardest things, and thinking back to playing, is we watch Swanson fire and complete it to his man Andy Wycherley, is playing in a dome, and especially when you don't play in a dome all season long, it's not so much the turf that affects you, but I tell people, I say it's the dome air. It's hard to breathe inside when you've been practicing out in the cold for so long.
Well, it's very stale in here. The air doesn't get much circulation, and when the people get in here with their own body heat, they heat this place up a lot. I remember playing in BC Place, which is the dome that the BC Lions play in Vancouver, and it was very, very hot and very, very musty in there.
Justin Jones is the man injured on the play. Jones, a linebacker, and one of the top guys for this club.
I tell you, if they go back to that play they just ran, Abe Swenson was going right down the seam, and he had good 4 or 5 steps on his man. If Swanson sees that again, or if the coaching staff sees it up in the press box, hit the man going deep right down the seam.
Of course, Highland, as we've told you, 9-0. They opened with a victory over Meridian, defeated Centennial in the second game of the season. Then Skyland, Bora, Blackfoot, Bonneville, Pocatello, Twin Falls, and then Idaho Falls to get into this one. Let's see if we can figure out exactly what happened to Justin Jones.
Well, in the sandwich that he and the other players made, it looks like he had his head down when he hit. And when you have your head down when you hit, it looks like he's okay. He's sitting up now, but anytime you hit a man with your head down, there's a serious risk of a head or neck injury, and that's why the coaches always stress the proper technique of having your head up when you hit.
The Patriots leading this one 14-6. They jumped out with 2 quick scores, and then Highland came right back to put one on the board, and that's where we stand right now. It is certainly an eventful game as Jones gets up a little slow, walking gingerly. We hope to see him back in the lineup.
Looks like he might be a little concussed there. He's got a little hitch in his giddy up. He's kind of got a little wobble going.
Wondering maybe where he's at. So the Patriots, after picking up 8 yards, will be faced with a 2nd down and 2. The ball is on the 28 of Centennial. The A1 state championship football game.
When he gets to the sideline and the team doctor or trainer asks him who he is and where he's at, that's the one. But if he answers Batman to any of those questions, you know you got to hide his helmet.
4 minutes and 24 seconds in the first quarter. Swanson to pass has got a man. And Abe Swenson, who's already gathered up a fumble in this football game, could not find the stickum when he needed it.
Well, I think he heard footsteps coming from number 8, Jacob Jones. A nice job by Swanson reading the open man sitting in the zone. But oh, honest Abe, I think he hears footsteps right there and he knew he was going to get licked.
So now the Patriots pretty good shape with a 2nd and 2. Now they're faced with a 3rd and 2. Out of the I formation with John Rook looking to lead the way for this guy, Mr. Forsey. And Forsey has more than enough for the first down, and he's having himself a ball game as he picks up about 12 yards across to the 42-yard line for the first down.
Boy, this might turn out to be the battle of the running backs as Forsey does a good job here. It's a sprint draw of Centennials. Breaks 1 tackle. Let's see, he's going to break another one and another one. And finally, a guy has to submarine him to bring him down.
Rick Long coming up from his cornerback position to make the stop. I guess the Centennial folks have to be thrilled that Forsey is just a junior. Still 1 more season remaining. Of course, the key at this level is you've got to make the most of your opportunities, and you might not get back here again, as Forsey's just delivered with a big pop. I think that was Jamie Jarowski. And Jederuski with the big stop put the big hurt on.
It was a pretty serious shot there after gaining positive yards on most of his plays. To be set on your back like that kind of makes you think about what you got to go through.
Forsey with 65 yards already just in the first quarter. And keep in mind, throughout the season, he's averaged about 100, if you want me to be exact, 101 yards a game. So we'll be exact. On 2nd and 9 for the Patriots, 3:09 remaining in the first quarter. Forsey being pressured and throwing it deep. His receiver needed to look up. Andy Wycherley was open as Swenson Did you think he was looking up for the ball?
Well, I think at first he thought he wasn't going to be able to get to it, but then when it finally happened, he knew it was too late. Swanson does a good job scrambling. There was good coverage underneath where he was looking. So here he is using his athletic ability, telling this guy to go deep, wings it. And there's Swenson. He really had a shot at that ball if he'd gotten a view of it earlier.
Trevor White, the big defensive lineman, putting the heat on Swanson.
Well, when you've got a quarterback who can scramble and runs around and makes time for himself, as a receiver out in the pattern, you've got to make time and get open and scramble with your quarterback.
Swanson 2 of 6. Fires it up. He's got a man, and it's complete to Andy Witcherly. So Witcherly gets it up for a first down. And I'll tell you what, great work by a quarterback and his catcher who knew right where that first down marker was.
I am so impressed with this young man's arm strength. No wonder he's been recruited by the Pac-10. Look at that. That ball goes 50 yards in the air on a rope right to Witcherly's hands, right on the first down marker. This kid is big time.
You know what scares you is when Bruce Snyder came to town and took a guy by the name of Plummer. He just told me about 2 months ago, he said, you know, Dave, I'll be happy to come to town and get another quarterback. Wouldn't that be ironic? Jake Plummer graduates and enter the young Matt Swanson. Of course, a lot of things have to happen between now and then. You certainly would think the Broncos are interested in this guy.
Well, Arizona State had a bye last week, and where did their quarterback come to watch a game but Boise, Idaho?
Keep it on the ground, and here's Forsey, and Forsey shoves his way up for about 7 yards.
Well, Brock showed excellent patience on that play. It's a little off-tackle play here. And look at him, just wait for that seam to get open, and he hits it, and he knows when he's in between the tackles, he's got to lower his head and get what he can.
Jadaruski with already his 5th tackle of this game, making the stop from the linebacker position. What's most impressive about the Patriots right now is the amount of time they are using on the clock.
Well, that's the best way to go. A ball control offense is one that's going to eat the clock, and when you're up, that's definitely what you want to do, is eat up the clock.
A 2nd down and 3 is a little mix-up between the receivers as Nick Hilson swaps places with Witcherly. Swanson to throw. He's got a man deep. And they've got to throw the flag on that. No. As the intended receiver, Ben Allen, looked like he was shoved down to the artificial surface.
Well, Rick Long, it's a judgment call here. Excellent job by the O-line and Forsey blocking, giving Swanson time. He throws this one up, but you got to remember that both players have a right to go for the ball. And Rick Long turned his head and looked for the ball, and they were both heading for the ball. So, you know, that's a judgment call, and the Centennial fans certainly don't like it.
So instead of first and probably goal, it's 3rd and 3 at the 40 of Highland. The home team trailing it 14-6. Dave Tester along with Bart Hull. Hoping you're enjoying all the action of this one. Of course, following the game tonight, it will be Bishop Kelly taking on Snake River, 2 teams that are undefeated. In fact, the last time Snake River lost a game, it was to Bishop Kelly a couple of years ago right here in the state championship game. So the Knights trying to get their 2nd title in 3 years. And on the keeper is Swanson, and a brilliant play by the senior to get the first down. And Bart, that's what was most important, was just to pick up those 3 yards and get that first down.
Well, I think everyone on the Patriots offensive line, including the running back, thought that was going to be a running play, but that was a quarterback keeper. And the quarterback shows a little niftiness there, breaking some tackles. Old Ty Watson there, number 9 for Highland, was a little slow to get up after Swanson rolled into his knee there.
Swanson on the season is not a guy that you expect to run the ball a lot. He's a great scrambler, but he's a guy that when you need the yards, he will get the yards, just like they're picking and choosing his opportunities. So a first down and 10. The ball is spotted at the 29-yard line of Highland. The Patriots again knocking on the door, up 14-6. Swanson looks once, twice. He's got a man open. Touchdown! Abe Swenson goes in 29 yards. The Patriots are putting on a show.
Well, that's the same play that we talked about before that I said old Abe was running down the middle all alone. And this time the coaches and Andy Swanson saw what was happening. He looks for his underneath receivers first, then he sees the tight end is uncovered. And what does he do? Throws a perfect ball to his Big old tight end, and he rambles in untouched.
Say this about 10 times fast. Swenson from Swanson. Adds up to 6 no matter how you say it. And the scoreboard reads 20-6. The Patriots trying to make it 21-6. Compliments of Ben Tanner, who is perfect, 3 for 3. Well, who would have thought, at least in this first quarter, that the Patriots would reel off 3 touchdowns? And they do it in fashion that looks brilliant, Bart.
Well, I've always wanted to watch this Andy Swanson play, and now I'm finally getting the opportunity to. And look at him with his patience. He's sitting in the pocket, and he sees his man wide open and throws a perfect strike to him.
The second touchdown of the evening for quarterback Matt Swanson. Jeff Caves is on the sidelines. Jeff, what do you got?
Well, the update on Justin Jones, the linebacker for Highland, is pretty short. This is about as much chance as he has of coming back this game. He's still out cold. That's a big blow to the Highland Ram defense. Offensively, you're right, Bart. They want to stay in control. That's Brent Cutter's message, and dominate. They want to physically dominate. You'll see a lot more speed option as they keep it on the ground until Centennial tries to stop them. Guys?
Now, Jeff, we want you to make good on your promise. The next touchdown, I expect Jeff to have that microphone in the receiver's face. We like to put some heat on Mr. Caves, who's working the sidelines for us throughout the game. And, Bart, you would expect the same, wouldn't you?
Nothing less than the best from Jeff Caves.
Ray Garcia bobbles the ball. And fortunate for Garcia, unless they mark it at the 1-yard line. I think that they said he was in the end zone, and it'll be a touchback at the 20. Garcia's thinking, everything has gone our way this season. Right now, the ball's just not bouncing where it should.
I tell you, these Highland guys are having real trouble seeing these kicks in the air. It's funny that this is their home arena, and now they're having trouble seeing because when you look at the roof is brown, almost the same color as a football. I mean, I sure wouldn't like to be returning kicks in here.
I guess the toughest thing as a player, and certainly not at this level, but at the collegiate level, is where the players stand. It's almost like in a dugout or a railing with a porch where the fans can swoop down and yell at you. Pass is complete as Jeff Davenport makes the grab, and that is his first catch of the game. Davenport is the favorite receiver of quarterback Joe Green, but just one catch thus far.
Well, you'll watch here that Davenport's headed out there, and 81 there sets a little pick. Kurt Tingy goes out there and a little bit of an illegal play, but as long as the refs don't see it, nothing's illegal. But a pick play there, the linebacker had good coverage, but when he got picked, it got him open.
That was just Green's first completion. So the passing game has not been there for Highland, but the running game certainly has with the brilliant senior, the guy with the ball, Tyler Wheatley. And Wheatley lowers his head, and I believe he's got enough for a first down as he just needed to get up to the 30-yard line, and they'll spot it at the 31.
Well, Tyler Wheatley running like Tyrone Wheatley here. The excellent giant back, and here's that sprint draw again. And great vision by Wheatley. He's got the green light to go anywhere he wants. He sees the cutback, takes it, lowers his head. First down.
Minute and 21 remaining in the first quarter. The Patriots leading at 21-6. 2 touchdown passes from Matt Swanson and a run by Brock Forsey has added to 21 for the Patriots, playing the role of underdog, but playing the favorite right now. Under pressures, Green gets it off, and the intended receiver was maybe not the guy that should have probably caught it, because Jacob Jones, who was setting a pick, could have caught that ball.
Well, Jeff Davenport, who caught the last ball, was running down the far sidelines. He ran it out and up, and he was so wide open. It was incredible, and I think they need to run that play again, run the out and up and hit the receiver going up the sideline. He was so open, it hurt.
Under a minute to go here in Holt Arena. It used to calling it, I guess, the Mini Dome, but now the official name is Holt Arena. I don't know, don't you think of it as the Mini Dome, Bart?
I think of it as a very hard place to play as a visiting team.
Bart, of course, playing a number of years as a Bronco running back. You weren't stopped like that very often, but you did make trips to Pocatello taking on Idaho State.
I'd have to say I was stopped like that a lot in this dome. That's the first play that I've seen Wheatley stop for anything less than a 3 or 4 yard gain.
Wheatley with 7 carries and 60 yards versus Biggie, the 12-yard touchdown run in the first quarter, early in this quarter, to give Highland its only score of the game. They trail it 21-6 as Mr. Joe Green tries to get something going offensively, but has Centennial put in a brilliant defensive game plan. Green fires it. He's hit just as he releases it, and Lee Newman, the head coach of Centennial, who probably wouldn't call himself that, but we're dubbing him a defensive guru, has put in a package that Highland can't figure out right now.
Well, Highland going with a no-back offense there. No one in the backfield at all. Everyone out on a pattern. And Jake Gross, number 55, beats his man, gets in and delivers the blow as the ball is being thrown.
Dustin Davis to kick off to this guy, Mr. Forsey, who has been electrifying. Davis on the season averaging about 24 yards a punt, will boot it from his 15. A nice punt, and Forsey will fair catch it at the 37, and that's where Centennial will take over. 1st and 10 with about 4 clicks of the clock remaining in this first quarter. At least in the first frame, it's one to remember for the Patriot faithful.
Well, in talking to the Centennial Patriot coaches, Scott Stewart and John Watson, who 10 years ago to this weekend won the state championship game in this very arena playing for the Meridian Warriors, they said that they needed to get off to this quick start, not turn the ball over, and they thought they could beat these Highland Rams.
Be interesting to see if Matt Swanson might surprise everyone and just hang it up deep. He has had a lot of success throwing the football early on. And John Root says none of that, and he carries the ball for a couple of yards. We played 1 quarter in the Milk Bowl. It's been all Patriots thus far. Back to Pocatello right after this.
Channel 6, Beauvais Homes, and Purple Sage Christmas Tree Farm are joining together this holiday season to bring you the 3rd annual Help Them.
Be quiet and let this rah-rah. There is a lot to make noise about if you are a Patriot fan, cheerleader, mom or dad, or just a person that enjoys football, seeing the giant killer roll. If you're on the other side of the field, though, it's not so fun right now. As the pass is fired and complete, Andy Witcherly makes a fabulous grab. What a play by Witcherly, who on the season now has 38 catches.
Well, Witcherly does an excellent job coming back to the ball. But this quarterback, he is all that he is billed to be. Watch Swanson roll out here, set up. Wow. Throws a rope right to the only spot it could be thrown to. Right into the receiver's hands.
Matt Swanson is a guy who gets fired up for the big games, and he just seems to set up and play his best when they're big, and they get no bigger than this one. After the first down, they keep it on the ground, and Forsey carries and picks up about 6. In that first quarter, Centennial with 150 yards of total offense. Listen to this, Bart. Highland just 65 yards.
Well, that is definitely a reversal for Highland, as they usually are. Just straight off tackle play with Root leading the way. Forsey gets the ball. He's a very patient runner. Look at him, but he also can break some tackles, and he's about a foot away from breaking this one big.
John Root on the season just over 300 yards. He is the quintessential fullback blocking for Mr. Forsey, but he is the touchdown maker with 9 scores on the season. Swanson back to pass, has a man. It's Abe Swenson, and Swenson goes out of bounds across to the 20-yard line. I'll tell you, this Abe Swenson, I like this Swanson to Swenson combo.
It is quite a combo. It is a tongue twister. But look at Matt Swanson, little play action there. That was off the draw on the off tackle play. Look at his feet. He's got steady feet. He knows he's going to get hit, but he hits his tight end that drags from all the way across the other side of the field, right behind the dropping Highland linebackers.
Swenson goes 6'1", 200 pounds, playing in his last game as a prepster. He came into this game with only 14 grabs, but he's already got 3 catches and a touchdown in this game. Root runs into the quarterback, but it doesn't matter. I think that kind of helped the big fullback as he ran into quarterback Matt Swanson and just kept it going.
Well, Root, he's a big old hoss. He likes to get in there and mess it up. And right up the middle he goes. Look at him just smash through the Highland defense there, putting the linebacker on his back. That's good power football.
We have a timeout on the field. The Patriots leading at 21-6. The Rams figuring out a way to stop this juggernaut. Back to Pocatello right after this. Swanson to roll. And he's got a lot of running room again if he can get one block. And somehow creates a tripod and gets up to about the 8-yard line. He will not go down, especially if he puts that glove down on the turf.
That's the old hand down drill that you've taught all through high school. Every running back and back knows it. All sorts of time here. This offensive line just does a super job. And Swanson scrambling for his life. Brady Brower's had the best of this battle so far, but this time Swanson fakes him out. Hand down. Let's get some more yards.
Well, Derek Daniels finally comes up and makes the stop, but the front four of Highland that has been so effective all season long, they've just been stymied. The main reason is the effectiveness of Matt Swanson, his ability to scramble and make something happen. And then on the ground, wait a minute, it's the option touchdown. Matt Swanson takes it in for the score. And now all of a sudden it's 27-6. Who would have thought it, Bart?
Well, you're right. Who would have thunk it? Earlier in the week, all they talked about was Highland's dominance and what Centennial was going to do to even stay in the game. Quarterback keeper all the way, just like that first down run a few minutes ago. Brock Forsey does an excellent job of faking it. The linebacker tackles him instead of the quarterback.
Swanson with his 7th touchdown rushing on the season. The 3rd for him in this game. 2 passing, 1 on the ground. And just like that, it is 28-6. The Patriots trying to stun the home team Rams.
Well, all the momentum has switched the way of Centennial. Quarterback keeper here. And watch Brock Forsey fake getting the ball. Who tackles him but the linebacker? And that leaves Swanson all sorts of room to operate. There he goes, just scampering in. What a competitor.
Well, now you look at the other side of the field and you wonder how Highland has to change their game plan, because certainly they wanted Wheatley to carry the ball and just rough and tumble and shove and push his way through the Centennial crew. But now when you're down 28-6, you've got to try to throw the ball, and they have not been effective doing so.
Well, if I'm the Highland coaching staff, on the last series, they went away from that option that they were so effective with on the scoring drive. Sometimes coaches tend to outthink themselves, and I think in this case, you go back to the option until Centennial stops you.
Ray Garcia ready to receive the kick of Ben Tanner. Garcia's pretty good at running the ball back this season, but this one he will not have an opportunity to get. And I talked to Ben Tanner in warm-ups, and I said, Ben, do you like kicking indoors? He said, Dave, I can boot that ball a mile, and that shows it right there when the high school kids are putting it in the end zone. The ball feels like it's got helium in it.
Well, kickers love kicking indoors where they don't have to deal with the elements. They've got a solid plant for whenever they want to kick the ball. It's paradise for them.
Joe Green will try to get something going. 9:59 remaining in the first half, 28-6. The Patriots with the lead as Highland trying to get that short passing game going. And Jeff Davenport, who was the favorite target of Mr. Green, picks up about 5 yards.
Well, this is the middle screen that you've seen run so many times in college games that we've covered this year. The linemen go downfield and block and go out and crack on everyone. But a nice job there by Centennial recognizing it and stopping it for only a few yards gain.
Davenport on the season, 92 catches, 1,400 yards. A little option pitch to Wheatley. And when Wheatley turns that corner, look out. There's a flag on the play, so more than likely it will be coming back. But that's where Wheatley's so deadly. Once he gets around that end, he's gone.
Well, if I'm Highland, I run option until Centennial stops me. 10 yards a run is just as good as 10 yards a pass. Looks like a little holding call there on number 60. Jeff Roberts gets called for the holding and negates a first down run.
Roberts from his left guard position, caught with his hand in the cookie jar, as it only makes matters worse for the home team.
Holding against the offense. 10-yard penalty. Repeat second and 10.
So instead of a 2nd and short, you're faced now with a 2nd and 10.
Hey, it's 2nd down. Let's run that option again. Keep running option until Centennial can stop it, because they're not doing anything to stop it right now.
9 minutes and 22 seconds to go in the first half. Centennial scoring the first 2 touchdowns of the game, jumping out to a 14-0 lead. Highland coming back to score 14-6. And then the Patriots tacking 2 more on, and that's where we are here in the second quarter as Green scrambles, and finally is unloaded on. As Scott Gucci comes up and makes the big hit.
That's a pretty nice big hit. Good coverage by the Centennial secondary and linebackers. Mean Joe Green got nowhere to go. He breaks 1 tackle, buys himself a little time. But this is a linebacker's dream. And he made it come true for himself right there.
So now all of a sudden it's 3rd and a mile for the Rams. And we've seen them in this situation before. They are deadly at times. Green gets it off, has a man nearly caught as Jacob Jones cannot find the handle, and Highland not only is forced to punt, but they'll give the ball back to Centennial in pretty good territory.
Well, Joe Green does a good job here. He's got men in his face. The hands are up. I don't know how he sees it. Throws a nice ball. Jacob Green has to lay out, but it goes right in his hands. You've got to make that catch in a state championship high school game.
So Dustin Davis will be, you can see how close he is to the goal line, just 1 step away. And Forsey's at the 43. Brock has not returned a punt or a kickoff or a touchdown this year, but wouldn't he love to do it here in the state championship game? Now, Forsey called for a fair catch, and I believe that touched the back of the Ram. Now, I don't think they gave him enough room to catch that football. Let's see what the official says. Forsey, as you saw, signaled fair catch, and then the ball hit one of the Ram defenders, and that is the discussion right now.
Well, there should be a flag thrown on that, because you have to give the guy 2 yards when he catches the ball, before you can hit him or interfere with his catch. He clearly signaled for a fair catch, and I think the refs were sleeping on that one.
Well, and that's the scenario, is if you give it to Centennial, you also have to throw a flag on the play. If not, then Highland will have the football. As you see the tail end of the Davis boot, and then towards the bottom, watch Forsey waving his hand.
Now you've got to give him 2. Oh, it hits the Highland guy, so it's a dead ball.
Well, they clearly did not. They're going to give the football to Highland, but they clearly.
Punt by White. First down, Black.
Well, that is an absolutely atrocious call. I have never seen a call that made that poorly in a championship game.
Well, you've got to give the man room to catch the football.
You have to give him 2 yards to catch the ball. And clearly, he is encroached on and even hit as he tries to catch the ball.
I think Lee Newman's pointing up here. He says, let's look at the replay. Well, as certainly as nice as that would be for Centennial, the deal is Highland has the football, and the Patriots have to figure out a way to go the other way.
Well, that was just straight bad officiating. And in a championship game, the refs have to know their rules. A man cannot be interfered with when he's attempting to make a fair catch.
Well, Bart, and what I'm wondering, too, is if the official even saw the defender run in to Forsey.
Well, how could he not?
So Highland has the football after the break, and here's Wheatley breaking his way up to the 46-yard line. And if you're a high school kid, you can't let that affect you mentally, because you know inside you're thinking, what happened to us out there with that call?
Well, there's that straight off tackle play, and Wheatley, just a fine runner, lowers his head and punishes the tacklers. But I tell you what, Centennial has to forget about that last play and go on and play football. They're up 28-6. Don't blow it now.
Wheatley with 71 yards on 7 carries. Green to throw the ball. He's in and sacked. Tim Flynn with a big sack And you know what? That's his first of the season. He's got an interception at a defensive tackle, but no sacks. But now he can add it to his resume.
Well, Tim Flynn putting that bad play behind him comes up with a huge play. Where's number 63, another D tackle who's pretty good. Wore that number, a guy by the name of Leroy Selman, and he looks like Leroy there, making a great play.
I think Joe Green thought it was third down. Because
he was walking up
He did.
the
He
field.
walked over that, I believe so. Maybe he was going over to get the play, but in disgust, he just kind of threw his fist down and walked off. And then all of a sudden, he sprinted back out. Coach Cutter said, we've got one more play. 3rd and 10 for the Rams after the sack. Green with time. Now he's bottled up and just does get it away. And the ball was intended for Jacob Jones, but I've got to tell you, that front of Centennial is making Green have no envy.
Well, Centennial is playing like a team possessed. Absolute maniacs. Pretty good job by the Highland O-line. Just too much time, and when you give a D-line that much time, they are going to put pressure. The ball goes right into the hands of Jacob Green, and I think he saw footsteps with about 5 Centennial Patriots there ready to unload on him as soon as he caught it.
Do you think Brock Forsey will fair catch this one? I don't. I think he's going to say, I'm going to catch that. You're not taking it away from me this time. As Forsey, the junior, awaits the boot of Davis, who kicks it from his 25, and there's the fair catch at the 30. So the Patriots hold up against adversity and get the football back with 6 minutes and 42 seconds in Milk Bowl 96. Patriots trying to pull off the upset and bring the trophy back to Boise.
All right. Jump up.
Too much.
Playing.
Well, he told us that the Highland coordinators were telling their guys that they were playing scared and that they do not want to win this game.
Well, Centennial has the football after the punt on the 30-yard line, and so far, every time they've had it, with the exception of one punt, they popped it into the end zone. As the brilliant junior Forsey just picks and chooses ways for 11 yards. So Forsey now has 8 carries in this ball game and just knocking on the door of 100 with 87 yards.
Well, a great job by his offensive line and his fullback, Reuter. Reuter roots him out of there. And a good job, really good vision. I tell you what, if he bounces this outside, he's still running. But he elects to put the head down and put a little punishment into those tacklers.
Ty Watson, a junior, at the free safety spot, coming up and making the stop for the Rams. That's Nick Hilton running to the bottom of your screen. Again, they keep it on the ground. Forsey looking for an avenue. And this time he'll only get about a yard before Derek Daniels makes the stop.
Well, that's the first time I've seen them run the pitch this whole game, and Highland does an excellent job of stringing this play out. Watch the Highland defenders. They go out, they force the cutback, which is the linebacker's job, even though it was a great block by Root, but look at the defenders. They're 3, 4, 5, right in the picture. They string the play out very well.
And you would think, Bart, running a play like that, maybe they are setting up a counter to that play.
Maybe a little toss pass.
A pickup of almost a yard. We'll still call it 2nd down and 10. Centennial leading at 28-6 with 5.5 minutes to go in the first half. Swanson fires it to Forsey and just a little bit overthrown as Swanson was pressured just a bit.
That's the first time I've seen him have happy feet. When the quarterback's jumping, hopping, he can't get set and throw the ball. I think he really tried to aim that ball. His fullback was, or his tailback was wide open down the sideline, and he's going to kick himself for that one because that would have been a big gainer.
The defensive coordinator for Highland High School, and there's Coach Cutter just popping in saying, guys, what's going on? 3rd down and 9. They have to get the ball across midfield for a first down, and the man was Jeff Jones, and the ball was fired in there. It was maybe too hot to handle, but he had the first down if he could hang on to it.
Well, perhaps a case of THTH there, a little too hot to handle. It was a little bit behind him, but a good job by the offensive line here. All sorts of time for Swanson.
4th down and 9.
Jones gets open, but it's a little behind him. First down play, though, state championship. Those grabs got to be made, both sides of the ball.
Swanson will punt it. Interestingly enough, the formation for Highland, they send 2 guys back. as opposed to a number of the formations we see where there's one guy back. Swanson boots the ball, and Davenport will take it at his 18. Gets away from one defender, and finally he's shoved out of bounds where the official throws the yellow flag, and we'll find out what the infraction is.
Your attention, please. Alan Anderson.
Well, Swanson's been a do-all guy for these Centennial Patriots. He throws the ball, he runs with it, he boots it away.
And it's a clip call against Highland.
You know, not only does he have good form quarterback, look at that form as a punter. You could use that as a how-to video there.
Flipping on the return. First down.
So instead of having the ball across the 30-yard line, it pushes it all the way back to the 9. Dave Tester, Bart Hull, and Jeff Caves at Milk Bowl 96. Hoping you're enjoying all the action. The Patriots jumping out of the early lead and extending it 28-6 with 5.5 minutes to go here in the first half of action. And another flag as Wheatley piles his way into the middle. And now a lot of mental mistakes on Highland, and usually we don't see that in a Rams coach team.
Well, we talked earlier about how disciplined they are. It seems that they're just getting a little flustered with the Centennial defense playing a lot better. I think they're a lot better than Highland thought they would be.
Holding against the offense. Half the distance to the goal. Repeat, first down.
Well, they keep moving the football back on Highland. And keep in mind, at one time, after the punt, this ball was clear up by the 30. But tack on a couple of penalties, and you see it marked at the 4-yard line. First down and 15. Highland trying to march some 96 yards to Bader. Green fires the ball and one hops it. The intended receiver was Davenport. But when you're on the run like that, and I don't think Green's used to that, and that is adversity that Highland is going to have to deal with at halftime. We're down. We haven't been down before.
Well, this is something they haven't had to deal with. And Green he throws off his back foot on this, and it's a real hard throw in the first place to throw it on the run to a receiver on the sideline. But if Highland, run the option. You had so much success with it. Why not keep going to it?
Of course, our friends in Twin Falls are probably thinking, you know what, Dave? The Bruins had Highland on the ropes last week, down late in the fourth quarter, and Highland came back to win that game. So maybe they're a come-from-behind team in the playoffs, as this one's complete to Davenport, but not nearly enough for the first down, as he is shoved out of bounds by Dan Rasmussen.
Well, here's the same type of play with a rollout. Good job by the O-line, gives him time. He throws a nice ball this time. Picks up some good yardage. It's only 3rd down and 5 now. It's a feasible call.
This looks like the penalty will go against Centennial, and I'm hoping, as we look at it, it's not a late hit, because it looked like somebody might have popped somebody out of bounds.
Personal foul, roughing the passer. 15 yards, automatic first down.
And that stings, as quarterback Joe Green was shoved into the turf after he had tossed the football. And just in case of a little overzealous, you look up at that scoreboard, you're all fired up. And next thing you know, you lose 15 and you got a first down.
Well, Centennial certainly did have Highlands on the ropes on the 4-yard line, and now it's a first down on the 20.
Of course, last year, Highland and Napa met up in the state championship game, with the Rams winning on the blue turf. Here is Wheatley, and Wheatley's got a head of steam. And he gets it up to this 27. Chris Johns from his cornerback spot making the stop.
Well, here's the option that we've been calling for. No one picks up the running back. No one is picking up as an assignment. A good job blocking downfield by Jacob Jones. And there's Wheatley doing what he can, picking up a good 8 yards.
Of course, we told you Coach Newman started his career here, playing for the Idaho State Bengals, went from here to Murtaugh. And he was actually an assistant as Wheatley is piled down by Scott Lee, but he was an assistant for a year at Pocatello, then headed the way of Boise, where he's an assistant for a couple of years at Centennial, and then took over as the head man. And you see at the bottom of the scoreboard that 81-82 national championship mark. He says, Dave, I don't know if there's ever been a coach that's played on a national championship team in the state and then went on to coach a state championship. There may have been one or two, but Coach Newman says, I want to be remembered for that tonight. First down after the Wheatley carry, and Tyrone is edging closer and closer to 100 yards.
Well, really nothing fancy here. It was just third down and a yard to go. What do you give it to? You give it to the guy who's gotten you yards all night long.
We're already calling him Tyrone, but I imagine that the family would like to keep it at Tyler, and that's what we'll do. So Wheatley with 86 yards, 28-6. The Patriots with the lead. The clock counting down to the first half at 3 minutes and 10 seconds, and knifing in there was Dan Rasmussen.
Well, Dan Rasmussen and Steve Weber come in there.
A couple of linebackers that have combined for 130 tackles on the season.
Great job. There's Weber grabbing the legs, and Rasmussen coming in and make sure he doesn't go any farther.
What's important here for Highland? Do they need to get a touchdown? Do they need to just have a successful drive for a field goal? What do they need to do, Bart?
Well, a score would be unbelievable here, but I think they need to get a couple of first downs just so they know that they can move the ball against Centennial and all the breaks aren't going against them.
Green's pass is complete to Griffin Proctor. So Proctor will pick up about 5 yards, and it'll bring up third down and 3.
I think you'll see as Highland keeps moving the ball, getting more and more first downs, they'll remember how they usually play.
Don't forget, following this game, Bishop Kelly takes on Snake River, and you can watch that entire game tomorrow at 10:30 on Channel 6, as we're proud to be bringing you the A2 championship game. As Wheatley rambles his way across midfield, and there's a flag on the play, so more than likely that will be coming back, much to the chagrin of those fans from Highland.
Well, Highland has a couple of looks at option. They have the straight option with the fullback going out, and then they have the lead option with the fullback blocking. He does an excellent job there as Wheatley heads up the sideline for a good gain. And then they run the straight naked speed option with just the quarterback and the tailback.
And here's the infraction.
Against the offense, 10-yard penalty, repeat third down.
And Bart, I think that was a classic look at how the option works, how you say leave that defensive end alone, and that's the guy that's how you make an option. You read what the defensive end does.
Well, it takes a very special quarterback to be able to run the option and be able to make those reads. And Joe Green seems to do an excellent job at it.
2 minutes, 21 seconds to go, so after the penalty, it pushes it all the way back to the 29-yard line. Green on 3rd and 13, fires it, and I wonder if Davenport trapped that ball. The official says no, he caught that. I'll tell you, Davenport is a marvelous receiver and kind of did a good job of hiding that one as well.
Well, look at Joe Green here. He knows he's just going to get rocked as he throws it, but he does a good job getting it away, and let's take a look. Well, from our angle, looked like perhaps a little bit of a trap.
Looked like the ball may have touched the turf, but as we said, that's part of being a good receiver, is making those ones off the turf appear like they're under air.
I tell you, these officials have been out of position a few times tonight.
Pass is complete, and right now, as Proctor makes the grab, Highland is very efficient. If they can just knock out the penalties is the key. Of course, speaking of penalties, what kept this drive alive was the late hit on the quarterback, because the Rams were deep in their own territory. Mr. Green was thinking, well, we may have to punt the ball, and then he was hit late, and that kept the drive going. Green looks like he's hobbling a little bit there.
Well, something's going on. He's got a little tape on his left ankle, but they should keep throwing that ball to Griffin Proctor, that quick little out, until Centennial stops it as well.
28-6, Centennial with the lead. The Rams again to Proctor and listening to Coach Hull. As we tell a number of the coaches to do that, Bart. None of them will listen is the only problem.
Well, there's a pretty good reason that I'm not on a sideline somewhere coaching and up here in the box. But I definitely have a good vantage point from up here. And Joe Green, on 3-step drops, throws perfect balls. Every ball I've seen him throw has been a perfect strike to the receiver.
So Highland moves it into Centennial territory at the 43. Wheatley has nowhere to go. And John Root, who also plays fullback, was the first guy in there to stop. And Coach Cutter says, we need to stop the clock. You see Cutter on the left, who's involved in a number of the aspects. You look at him and say, hey, is he one of the players or something? A young guy, but I'll tell you, he has a brilliant coaching mind. So with 1:18 to go, the Centennial fans enjoying this.
Peter Patriot, along with the Centennial cheerleaders, and 5 busloads of fans that came up here to Pocatello to watch Centennial vie for the state championship.
Remember being in this building a couple of years ago, only they had a basketball court down, and the Centennial Patriots came home with the state championship. So it has been a very friendly building in that sense for the Patriots, putting hardware in the closet. Coach Cutter discussing where to go, what happens. Of course, that's one of the different aspects of high school football, is the fact that the coach can literally get right in the huddle.
Well, the Highland Rams have been doing 2 things that Centennial hasn't been able to stop. One is the speed option and the lead option, and number 2 are the quick timing passes between Joe Green and number 7 Griffin Proctor.
So on 4th and 1, the Patriot defense will be tested, and the Rams will see if they can get up and over with Wheatley. And Wheatley gets about a half a yard more than he needed. It's nice to have a guy like Wheatley on 4th and 1.
Well, his offensive line and fullback did a super job there. His fullback wears number 30. It's Eric Cheney. And he leads up in there. And look who Wheatley falls over. It's his fullback. I tell you, they got no respect.
Wheatley with 14 carries already, 90 yards. Green has a man wide open. And a vicious hit put on after the catch. Kurt Tingey caught the ball and popped right back up.
Well, Dan Rasmussen laid a hit on him. Let's see the next catch he makes over the middle if he hears footsteps or remembers number 34 laying him down. But really good concentration there. There was a man right on him, catches it with his fingertips. And
Highland fighting the clock. Green on the roll, throws it up for grabs and nearly caught. Jacob Jones nearly brought in a spectacular grab, but it will stop the clock with 47 clicks to go.
Well, incompletions and balls out of bounds, either on a running play or a pass that goes out of bounds, are what you need, and a smart job there by Joe Green throwing this.
Here's our hit of the night, huh?
That could be a great job catching this ball and eluding the first tackle. Does a little dancing over the middle. I'd advise you to stop dancing because he gets plastered.
Green is going to go down. So Jake Gross makes the quarterback sack, and what better a time for the defensive end who has 6 sacks, make it 7 on the season. And here's that hit we want you to see.
I think that speaks for itself. I think you would call that hit humongous, but a good job of holding on to the ball. And on that last play, I tell you what, Jake Gross has been all over Joe Green the whole night. And it's only been a matter of time before he gets a hold of him while the ball's still in his hands.
And you know, Jake is not a huge guy, 5'11", 190 pounds, but he is very quick, and that's why he is so effective now with 7 sacks on the season. Plenty of halftime festivities lined up for you as the Patriots will head to the locker room with the lead and with thoughts of hanging on for one more half to stop the stronghold of Pocatello. Boy, it seems like Highland and Pocatello have owned this trophy, the A1 title game, for a number of years. Of course, this is the first trip to state for Centennial since 1990. They won it in 1988. Of course, that 90 team featured Jeff Pancratz, who's playing for the Vandals.
Well, I tell you, this is a very big series for Highland. If they can put the ball in the end zone and put points on the board, it would be absolutely huge.
3rd and 16, and it's intercepted. Intercepted. Dan Rasmussen with his 2nd interception of the season. Now there's a flag on the play. Rasmussen comes up with the gem, but let's find out if it's going to stand as ruled. The Patriot players are saying yes, indeed. Let's see who got a glove in there. It looked like Jake Gross again. At least he put the pressure on, and Scott Lee got a hand on the ball.
Illegal touching against the offense. Penalties refused. Pass was intercepted. First down.
Well, number 60, Jeff Roberts, tipped the ball, and as a guard, you are not allowed to catch a pass as much as he'd like to. Here you see, he tips it. Oh, anything to touch the ball. But he sets up the interception there. Almost bobbles it, rolling around. Oh, my word.
That's why you wear those Newman gloves to hang on to that. So with 27 seconds to go, it'll be interesting to see if the Patriots will just keep it on the ground. No, they want to get more. Swanson steps up in the pocket, fires it, and it is complete to Nick Hilton. Hilton already has a touchdown in this game, and it's interesting to watch the Patriots in their 14-second offense.
This looks like the last play of the half. Let's see if they just heave it deep.
Let's see what kind of arm Swanson has as he fires it down to Wycherley, and it's incomplete. So 2 clicks on the clock, and it looks like the Patriots will have one more play.
Well, this is the heaver deep play. Hail Mary, heaver deep.
Well, I'd be curious just to see what kind of arm Swanson has, as the football is spotted at the 37. So to get it to the end zone, you're talking about 62 yards, 63 yards. To see what kind of gun he's got on.
Well, you know what play often works with long ones. Oh,
well, I guess we're not going to see that. Regardless, though, it's been all Patriot colors as Centennial leads it at the half, 28-6. Coach Cutter is headed over the way of our Jeff Caves. Going to try to figure out what is in the mind of the head coach, who's watched his team fall down. Of course, a week ago, that was the same scenario. Jeff, take it away.
All right, we're here with Brent Cutter. Coach, just your reactions on the first half first.
Well, we're just getting outplayed terribly bad. You know, we've had some big mistakes in the kicking game, and they're making plays and we're not. You know, and it's one of the things that I was kind of concerned about. They're playing very well and we're not, and we're getting outplayed right now.
Same thing happened against Twin. What'd you say at the half to your Ram football team?
Well, right now we have guys, and even after the first quarter, we had guys that have a defeated look in their eyes, and we got to believe that we can win and that we can come back. But to do it, we got to make some plays, and we were able to do that against Twin Falls. And tonight, if we can make some plays, we've got a chance of coming back.
Will you come back with the run or the pass, Coach?
Well, you know, it just depends on situation. If we can put a score up on our first drive and cut it to a 2-score game, we might have a chance, you know, to balance it still. But if we get in desperation, we got to throw.
All right, thanks a lot, Coach. All right, Dave, we're going to have a lot of interviews down here on the sidelines. George Brown, the facilities manager of Holt Arena. And we're also going to talk to Dan Pappenberg with the United Dairymen of Idaho, and we'll get some insight on the UDI and their involvement in Milk Bowl 96.
It's halftime of the A1 State Championship. The Patriots up on the Rams 28-6. Don't go away. More to come from Pocatello.
We're back at halftime at Holt Arena for Milk Bowl 96, and a shocker, Centennial is leading Highland 28-6. And there's got to be a lot of dairymen up and down the state awfully excited for this game. We're talking to Don Pappenberg, who's with the United Dairymen of Idaho, and 13 years now, Don. The Milk Bowl theme is living on, and boy, this has got to be one of the greatest games, or the greatest 2 quarters that we've seen in 13 years.
Well, it's a very good game. Anything can happen in the second half, and probably will. And you know, from my perspective, I really don't care who wins. The idea is that we're bringing everybody together. It's under a roof, out of the weather. We got a nice crowd. I think it's a successful bowl.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at it from the United Dairymen's perspective and how you get involved with the IHSAA. Yeah, Highland didn't have to travel far, and for the most part, Centennial didn't either. But look at Dairy, look at those schools up north, and how you guys get involved to make that happen.
Well, usually we're the ones that's helping offset the mileage costs, the expense of getting the team down here. You mentioned Deary, that's a long way away. It's a small school and not a lot of students, obviously, so it would be a big charge, financial burden on them, and we kind of help offset that.
Now, the IHSAA's got some big plans in February. The Idaho Center's going to open with the Real Dairy Championships for the women's basketball state tournament, and the Dairymen are there again, and that's going to be a tremendous moment.
Oh yeah, that'll be the first time in the new facility. Of course, there's a lot of excitement about that. But it'll also, from our perspective, there's a lot of excitement because it'll be the second year that we will televise the girls' basketball tournament statewide. So, yeah, we look forward to that also.
Now, statewide television for high school football championships and basketball championships doesn't exactly happen in every state in the United States.
No, we're really maybe the only state that does all of them sponsorship. I think the state of Indiana does the high school basketball, but that's really big back there. But we're very proud of the fact that we're the only state that really sponsors all of them.
Well, the United Dairymen of Idaho and the Idaho High School Activities Association and your relationship goes beyond football and basketball. There's many other things that are not athletic related that you guys are involved in.
Yeah, that's right. Drama, speech, band, music festivals, things like that, drug awareness programs. Well, it's all part of the total activities of the Idaho High School Activities Association, and we're just, from the dairyman standpoint, and it is the dairy farm families that sponsor it, we're very pleased to be part of it.
All right, on behalf of the crew, Pap, I want to tell you and the dairymen, first class as usual. Thanks for your support.
Well, you're very kind, Jeff, and you said that just the way I told you to say it. So.
Thank you very much, sir. All right, let's get George Brown here. George is the facilities manager for Holt Arena, and you'd think that this is the only event that is going on in Pocatello, that this is the only game. Well, guess what? There's another game at noon. There's another game after this one. And George Brown's here, the guy that puts all this together. So George, I mean, you've got not much else to do. You've got this game, and then you're going to go home and call it a night, right?
Well, yeah, right. And then I get ready for tomorrow because I have another game tomorrow night after the ISU game. So I'll be going home and getting my stuff together so that I know who my officials are and talk to all my help that I have working for me. So.
Yeah, what does it take pulling this all together, George? You've got a staff here at Holt Arena that's connected to Idaho State University, but you're the tournament director for the IHSAA. So where are the resources coming from?
Well, I have a number of people that work for me that are from the local school district, and then we coordinate with the ISU people here at Holt Arena, and we just do the best we can. The money that we generate here pays for the rental of the dome and pays for all the help that we have.
How has it worked out? As it looks at a balance sheet, George, a lot of people watching this thinking, does it cost out? You've been very fortunate with Highland and Pocatello being involved in these championships, and they all wonder what would happen if this went down to Bronco Stadium.
Well, ISU is really good to work with here. We pay half of what the normal rental fee for the dome is, and then we take the total gate, and then we pay all our bills from the total gate.
All right, George, thanks once again for all your cooperation with the Channel 6 crew and all the dairymen. Appreciate your help.
Thank you.
All right, George Brown there. That's the scene. Holt Arena is the stage. It's Milk Bowl 96. The A1 championship football game has 2 more quarters, and you're going to be there. 28-6 Centennial, back with stats and more after this timeout. Halftime of the A1 state championship football game. Milk Bowl 96 is off in grand style. It's 28-6 Centennial. A lot of highlights for Patriot fans. Bart Hull and Dave Tester have more. Bart?
Well, it's a game that's been filled with highlights, mostly on the Centennial side. I'd have to say Matt Swanson is all that he's been cracked up to be here in the first half.
So here's take a look at the first score of the ball game, and this is the guy that, Bart, you've been talking about seeing what he can do, and hits his man, Hilton, for the first touchdown of the game. And then from 45 yards after a nice punt return, Mr. Forsey is gone, off to the races.
Just some great blocking by his supporting cast there. Sprung him. That's team effort.
14-0 at that point, and then Tyler Wheatley takes it on the old option from 12 yards out. You're not going to stop the big guy when he's got a lot of room. They're saying, let's go. The Rams would miss the extra point, 14-6. And then the old S to S, Swenson from Swanson.
Well, that's a play that was wide open in the series beforehand, and it looks like Swanson and the coaches talked about hitting the tight end right down the seam, and there it was for 6.
21-6 at that point. Centennial with the lead. They weren't done. Swanson already with 2 touchdowns. They were throwing. He said 15's going in for 6, and that's where we stand at the half. 28-6. We'll be back to the Dome with more of the A1 Championship football game right after this.
Gift honor.
Dave Tester along with Bart Hull in Holt Arena, where it's 28-6. And the man of the moment, Coach Newman, can he hang on to the lead? Jeff Caves will find that out. Jeff?
Yes, we will, Dave. Thanks. Coach, 2 quarters away from a state Milk Bowl championship in the A1 division. What's the focus for the Patriots?
Well, Highland's a great football team, and they can come back from anything. They did it last week against Twin Falls. So we gotta have the kind of effort that we had in the first half. We gotta play great on offense like we did, and we gotta really get after them on defense.
Put the ball in Swanson's hand. The rest is academic.
Yeah, he's making great plays, and we've got to keep it in his hands and have him make the big plays for us.
Coach Newman, nobody thought you would win this football game. You've got 2 quarters to prove them wrong.
Yeah, our players believe it, and that's what counts.
All right, Dave and Bart, that's the story. Good luck, Coach.
In 1988, Coach Newman was an assistant for this club. He watched them defeat Bora for the state title. Now he is the head man, hoping to watch them defeat Highland the second half, and much more when we return right after this. Patriots with the lead. Bart, what is the key for Centennial, first of all?
I think Centennial needs to just keep that momentum they have going. Before the game, and talking to the coaches, Scott Stewart and John Watson, Heath McInerney, they looked at their kids and they looked at me and they say, these kids think they're going to win this game. And they came out so hard in the first half and did such a nice job. They really need to not let down, come out in the second half, play with the same emotion, and put Highland away.
Who's looking in on us? None other than Mark Mills. And Mark will be busy tomorrow, as our entire Channel 6 crew. We will be road tripping back home. Bart, you have to keep me awake, or do I have to keep you awake?
I think I'm going to be crashed in the back of your truck, Dave.
Okay. I want to thank our statistician, Bob Rome, who came all the way from Chicago to help us out. And, of course, tomorrow we've got Bishop Kelly and Snake River. That gets going at 10:30. And then our Idaho Super Bowl pregame show at 12:30. Don Nelson, Claudia Weatherman, Bob Anthony, Rebecca Lewis, Joe Hughes. That'll be live from Players Pub, as well as Broncos Stadium, and then the kickoff. Here's truly, along with a guy I call the Holster, Bart Hull. We'll have all the exciting action of the Vandals and the Broncos. But right now it's the Rams and the Patriots. The final half of football for a number of these kids, and they want to make it one to remember.
Well, Centennial's got to set the tone here with this kickoff. And then on defense, they've got to make Highland go 3 and out or force a turnover. Maybe they can crush the spirits of these seemingly invincible Highland Rams.
Ben Tanner to open things off here in the second half. That's Ray Garza. And Garza is popped and then piled up at the 16-yard line. And that intermission didn't seem to slow down Centennial at all.
Well, Dwayne Murphy came down, and he set the tone for the second half. He took it upon himself to fly down, break through the wedge, and do a great job corralling Ray Garza, who is a very, very dangerous return man. He's been shut down tonight.
So Highland will operate at the 17-yard line. The Rams have trailed this one from the get-go. Interestingly enough, the Patriots had the opening kickoff. They went 3 and out, punted it away, then fumbled the football as one of the defensive tackles jumps off, and Highland will add 5.
Have a flag prior to the snap.
Dead ball foul, encroachment against the defense, still first down.
Well, Nick Bullen here is the left defensive tackle, and he's got that dark visor on, and I think it clouded his vision a little anxious, and jumps offside.
Of course, if you're a defensive line coach, you like to see that, especially some of your smaller guys, because they need every edge they can get on. The option to pitch is to Wheatley, and Wheatley turns the corner and gets across to the 34-yard line where he picks up a first down.
Well, it looks like Centennial didn't make any adjustments at halftime on who to pick up in the option. Joe Green runs this beautifully. Challenges the end, pitches it to the tailback. No one picks him up.
Wheatley just going over the century mark, 106 yards on 15 carries. Oh, he is a workhorse for this team. Of course, on the season, he has been everything to this club as Wheatley barrels it up almost to the midfield mark.
Matt Ferguson on the stop. It's the first time we've called his name tonight. I think number 16, Mr. Inside and Mr. Outside. Tyler Wheatley up the middle, breaks one tackle, runs over another one.
Wheatley on the season with 1,300 yards, comparing the other side. Brock Forsey with 1,100 yards, very close. Going up top, a man, and it is caught. As Green tossed it up, and look who comes up with the gem is Mr. Proctor. What a great catch by Garcia Proctor.
Well, three-step fade. Nothing fancy here. Run as fast as you can. The ball's going up. See who comes up with the ball. Proctor has great hands. In the first half, we saw him catch some outs and some timing patterns. Joe Green is at his best when he takes a three-step drop.
A 36-yard pass, and now Wheatley going into the end zone. One man to beat. He's home. Wheatley goes 26 yards for his second touchdown of the game. And just like that, the sleeping giant has been awakened.
I think Brett Cotter had a few choice words for his team at halftime. I think it worked. Wheatley, the workhorse, in for a second touchdown.
Wheatley with 130 yards and 2 touchdowns in this ball game makes it 28-12. No doubt Highland will go for the 2-point conversion after missing on the extra point try, their first score. Wheatley is the single setback. Davenport and Jones are the receivers. Davenport in motion and makes the grab. Now all of a sudden the game takes a different look. 28-14, the Rams on their opening drive punch it in. You're watching Millpool 96 on Channel 6. After the 27-yard run by Tyler Wheatley to make the score 28-14, Ryan Kemp will boot it. Forsey comes up to the 8-yard line. And Brock tries to send it the other direction and finally is upended as he gets to the 28-yard line. Tyler on the season, 24 touchdowns. That's pretty good. Nothing fancy on this 2-point conversion, Bart?
Well, a little bit fancy. You don't see there, but there's a little bit of a pick thrown. And as I said, Joe Green best on his third step. He took 1, 2, 3 and fired the ball. Every time he takes 3 steps and hits a timing pattern, the ball is a perfect spiral.
So Matt Swanson will bring the troops out. He's been off the field for quite a while. The intermission, and then while he watched Highland march the football down the field, Forsey gets across to the 34-yard line. It'll pick up about 3.5, 4 yards, and it'll bring up second down and long.
Well, a good positive run by Brock Forsey. Brady Brower comes out from his inside linebacker spot, and right here, submarine. And up in the air goes Forsey, but he still gains positive yardage. That's a sign of a good back.
Forsey on the season averaging about 6 yards a carry. And tonight with 92 yards. So he's nearing that 100-yard mark. And there's Forsey catching it out of the backfield. Something that he's very effective at. 523 yards, now make it 540 yards. And this is a guy maybe down the road, he's still got another season, depending on what happens, that some colleges may look at.
Well, Swanson had 2 guys open on this play. He elects to go to the shorter guy. He had Abe Swanson cutting right behind who was open, but why not throw to the guy who's your big play player?
So it's 3rd and about a yard as they dive it up the middle, and that's Root for the first down. And he's kind of the guy that takes on the role of a pretty good fullback for the Cowboys, as we said in the first half, the guy they call Moose.
Well,
As we heard the fans chanting, root.
Pretty big compliment to a guy. But I have to say he lives up to his billing as a fine fullback. He roots guys out of there as a lead blocker, and on short yardage up the middle. Look at that. That's good power running.
One of the only guys on the Centennial team to go both ways. He's a fullback and a middle linebacker, and Root wedges his way for about 3 yards before Josh Spookley makes the stop.
Well, a quick trap there by Centennial. Got milk. Or Tester, you're a genius. Well, Centennial's doing a really good job of mixing up their offense with the rollout passing, the drop back passing, and then the quick trap up the middle on that last play. Got to keep Highland guessing.
9 minutes, 23 seconds remaining in the third quarter. Centennial up 28-14 on 2nd and 9. The pass is complete to Root, who maybe gets a couple of yards. It looked like they had that screenplay set up very nice. But then Highland, with that good team speed, they just sniffed it out when Root made the catch.
Well, I think Brady Brower, who's been an excellent player for Highland tonight, sniffs out the screen. Oh no, he's in on the pass rush. But a good job by John Root to follow, get out in the open area, and make sure his quarterback can see him. Makes a nice little grab.
The hometown Pocatello crowd beginning to make a little more noise on 3rd and 5. The Highland Rams asking for help. Swanson looking for help. There'll be a hold. It's complete. I'll make that incomplete to Forsey. He was hit, but I think there's going to be a hold on one of the linemen of Centennial as Randy Brower was there to make the big stop. That's number 6 with the high 5.
Well, the penalty's probably going to be declined. This is a bootleg, but number 68 does a great job sniffing
Holding
it out.
against the offense. Penalties refused. 4th down.
Well, Brandon Terry did such a nice job sniffing out the bootleg that it forced Swanson going back to the outside, and he laid out his big play man, Brock Forsey, and there's Brady Brower again laying the big hit.
Now, Bart, if you're a defensive coach and you look at the guy who's punting the ball, who's also a very good quarterback, you always have to be aware of the fake?
Always, at any time. When you've got a guy who's an athlete like that, you can't take anything for granted.
Swanson at his own 30-yard line will boot it away. It's a beautiful high punt here in the dome. And taking the fair catch will be Davenport. And when we come back, Pocatello will have the football and the momentum, it appears right now, on the 23-yard line. Patriots still up 28-14, back to Milk Bowl 96 after this.
The test.
Back in Holt Arena, where Centennial has the lead 28-14, but it seems like Highland, after opening it up in the second half with a touchdown, has Mr. Moe.
Well, they've been a comeback team in the last couple of weeks, coming back on Twin Falls last week.
There's that option again, but Wheatley is hammered by Steve Weber, who makes the stop. So that time they closed up on the option, something we haven't seen tonight.
Well, there was a lead blocker there on Weber, but he does a great job coming up on the force, playing off the block, and really the first time I've seen the option fail except for a penalty this whole game.
Pickup of 3 yards for Wheatley. It's 2nd and 7 for the Rams. 7 minutes, 53 seconds remaining in the third quarter. The A1 championship football game. Pass is complete. So all alone making the catch was Tingy. I'm wondering if that right ankle is bothering Green. The more he limps, the better he throws the ball.
Seems to be that way. There's a serious limp right there, but he rolls out here and has to stop up short, but he does a really good job. He's really hobbling as he runs there, and I'm surprised he got that ball up as well as he did.
It's another first down for Highland. Wheatley is caught right at the line, but he still manages to carry Scott Lee for about 3 yards. Lee hit him right at the line of scrimmage, but when it was all said and done, Wheatley had 3 more yards.
Well, Wheatley is his running back coach's dream. You're always taught as a back, as soon as you get hit, keep those legs driving, positive things will happen. And he is definitely the guy who makes good things happen when he keeps his feet moving.
Dave Tester, Bart Hull, and Jeff Caves in Pocatello, where the Rams are taking on the Patriots, the state championship football title. Highland goes up top. A man is open and nearly bringing that in. It would have been a spectacular grab. It was Proctor, and Proctor has kind of come out of nowhere to make some big plays. He almost had to stick him on that play.
Well, it would have been an unbelievable catch. A nice ball. See that three-step drop? He throws a perfect spiral. This would have been highlight tape material. Just in the last moment, the impact of the ground forces the ball out. You know, if he almost kept it up off his ankle there, but it just touches the ground and it's incomplete. See the refs waiting? He said it touched the ground.
It's almost like a wrestling ref right down on the mats looking for the pin.
Well, it's about time the Stripes got in position tonight.
3rd and 7. Green rolling out his hit as he releases it to Davenport. And this takes a Highland roll as all the Patriots get away, and it'll be down at the 28-yard line. And we see a flag, and looked like there was some extracurricular activity, some talking, pushing, and shoving, and that is not a game Centennial wants to get into right now.
Well, not at all. I saw after the play that Brady Brower, the Highland middle linebacker, was clapping, so I think this is going to be a personal foul that goes against Centennial. To see Heath McInerney trying to get a hold of the official and see what's going on.
Well, Heath was saying the other guy was doing the same thing. Maybe baited into the situation. It's the old case of the second guy always gets caught.
That's right. That's the first thing coaches tell you. It's being marched back.
Dead ball foul. Personal foul, unnecessary roughness against the receiving team. Half the distance to the goal. First down.
There's Heath McInerney. See his hat right there, the former Boise State offensive lineman, now coach with Centennial and a teacher at Centennial High School. Berating his punt team.
(28-14), Centennial with the lead, and of course now you've got to be careful, at least mentally, not to get too conservative. You want to keep playing that. If you can bottle that first quarter and that second quarter and pop the top on it right now, that's what you'd want to do.
Scott Stewart's trying to be a little more friendly with the ref than Heath was, trying to plead his case there that both players were doing it. But I agree with you in the fact that Centennial can't get conservative here and play not to lose. We've seen a number of times this year where teams have played not to lose, and then the other team has come back and scored dramatic last-minute victories. Centennial has to be aggressive here and let their big play man, Swanson and Forsey, get after it.
Well, Coach Cutter was back there putting on the headset, so wearing the phones, getting a little more involved as this one gets down to crunch time. Forsey with a lot of room, has one man to beat. Oh, what a brilliant flash of speed as Forsey gets across the 32 and gets it up to almost the original line of scrimmage. Oh, what a run as he goes over 100 yards.
Well, credit the right side of the offensive line here. It's a sprint draw, and it's blocked beautifully by the fullback of the offensive line. Splits the defenders right here. Brock Forsey, he's a kid you're going to have to watch next year.
So it'll bring up a 2nd down and 5 after that penalty. Little play action. Swanson under trouble, gets it away, and it's complete as Ben Allen comes off the sidelines to make the grab, and Ben gets the first down for Centennial.
What a patient play by Matt Swanson.
That's just his 12th catch of the season, but it appears, Bart, like Centennial stymied, and then Swanson comes up with the big play to number 20.
Well, Scott Stewart, who coaches Matt Swanson, he was a fine quarterback himself at Eastern Washington and Meridian High School, he knows what this guy can do, and you can't bottle up a guy with that much ability. You got to let him play and play to win.
5 minutes and 46 seconds to go here in the 3rd quarter, looking now like the Forsey show.
Well, why not? When he's making positive yards, his offensive line and his fullback are doing a great job blocking, along with the wide receivers. This is a guy who knows how to get positive yards. It's an off-tackle play. Root is fullback with a great block. Then it's up to the running ability of Brock Forsey to run over a guy and get positive yardage.
Forsey already with a 45-yard touchdown run. His long of the season, 68 yards. And look at the junior bob and weave as he pushes it into Highland territory.
Well, when you've got two weapons, you've got number 25, Brock Forsey, and number 15, Matt Swanson. Which one are you going to come up with next? They've got Highland off balance, running the ball extremely effectively and throwing the ball with just as much effect.
132 yards for the junior, and you almost think they're lulling you asleep, and maybe Swanson's going to hang it up in the air. There's a fumble, and who's got it? I think Kelly Frew, the left tackle for Centennial, was there to gather in the loose pigskin.
Well, there's a fortuitous bounce for the Centennial Patriots. I don't think that old Reuter ever had this ball. You see, it's a quick trap play here with the guard pulling around on the defensive tackle. Never seemed to get it. Had it on his hip the whole play. Goes down on the ground. A couple of good bounces for Centennial and an alert play by Big 6'4".
So Frew gets the fumble recovery and keeps this drive going. It's 2nd down and 5 with 4 minutes and 18 seconds to go in the third quarter. The Patriots up 28-14. Forsey hits one man and manages to get maybe a yard. It'll bring up 3rd down and about 3 yards, maybe 3rd down and 2.
Well, that's the first time this drive I've seen Forsey bottled up. Good job by Highland here. Well, I tell you what, if he'd have followed his fullback, John Root, I think he would have had a big gain there. The first time I've seen him make a bad decision running the ball.
Ball's at the 32. They need to get it at the 29 for a 1st down. Swanson will throw under pressure, gets away from one player. He's got to turn the corner to get the 1st down and does it and more. As Derek Daniels chases him out of bounds, but not before the senior, who has been so brilliant in this game, picks up a 1st in front of the friendly fans.
Well, with this play, he kind of reminds me of a guy that wears number 18 at Boise State. You think he's bottled up, you think you got him for a sack, you think you're going to stop him before the 1st down. Forget about it.
Well, I know some of the Bronco coaches are watching this broadcast, and a good chance to see the guy firsthand. Of course, I imagine there's some Idaho coaches watching, some Bengal coaches. And Forsey carrying it across for a pickup of about 6 yards. Of course, the Broncos and the Vandals play this Saturday on the Blue at 1:30. It's the final game of the season. And this is the final game of the season as well for Centennial and Highland. Clock continues to roll. We're just under 3 minutes in the third quarter, 28-14. Centennial trying to capture its first state title since 1988. The Highland Rams trying to put back-to-back ones in the closet. Somebody jumped, I believe. And this one's going to go against Centennial. Just look by the cadence and the way that Swanson moved his hands there that the team was a little off kilter.
Well, it looked like the center.
False start against the offense. Still 2nd down.
Believe it or not, I think it was against the center, Mike Smith. Before he snapped the ball, he had a little bit of lean.
And normally you figure there can't be motion on the center because if he doesn't snap it, it's offsides on everybody else. And when he does snap it, it's okay to go.
That's one of the few times I've ever seen that called against the center. Leaning, and then snaps the ball.
Mike Smith, the 225-pound senior, trying to lead the way in front of his quarterback, Matt Swanson, who looks at a 2nd down and 10. And again, another hanky comes. It might be the same scenario.
Well, it looks like it. There's some flinching going on.
Dead ball foul. False start against the offense. Still 2nd down.
Well, the original line of scrimmage was at the 22, and it continues to move back and back. When you tack 5 yards on it a pop, it hurts. number of the Bishop Kelly fans getting here, getting a place to watch their Knights take on Snake River. Of course, we'll have that game for you tomorrow on Channel 6 at 10:30. Second down and 15, the old shovel pass to Forsey. And when you see that on the replay, it looked nice. It's almost like the underhand pitcher shoveling in a softball toss to the batter.
I've heard it called the shovel pass, the shuffle pass, any number of things, but whatever you call it. A really nice job by Matt Swanson getting the ball to Brock Forsey. Brady Brower does a good job. He's not fooled here at all, and he comes up and makes the play. That's third down, about 12.
Pickup of 7, make it 3rd and 8. Very creative, Bart, offensively, is this Centennial crew.
Well, they've got some good offensive minds here. Scott Stewart's a former college quarterback who was a fine quarterback and a very smart quarterback in his day.
Swanson fires it up. He's got a man open, and it's caught. Touchdown! How about that? Abe Swenson from 22 yards out on a 3rd and 8 goes in for pay dirt, his second touchdown of this ball game.
Well, Abe's been the go-to guy around the goal line. He's the second touchdown of the night. A planned rollout. Look at Swanson stay in there. He knows he's going to get hit, but completes the ball. Brock Forsey thought it was to hit over his head to him. He kind of gets a piece of it, but it goes right into the arms of Abe Swenson, who does a good job crossing that goal line.
It will be a night to remember for Swenson, who has 2 touchdown grabs and a fumble recovery in this ball game. The point after is good. And now the score reached 35-14, and it looked like for a minute Highland had stole the momentum. But Centennial comes right back, and watch it one more time. Swenson from Swanson.
Well, I just saw Brock Forsey getting a talking to by a coach down on the sideline. That ball is not to you. But nothing, no ill effects of him touching the ball. 6 points goes the way of Centennial. Swenson.
It's a good Norwegian name, isn't it? Abe Swenson. Well, the board says it all in the Milk Bowl 96 state championship game. We told you earlier today it was Parma defeating Glens Ferry. Napa Christian missing out on an opportunity, but they will come home as the runner-up, as the Trojans started things off here. Tonight, join Joe Hughes on Channel 6 for Sports Plus. We'll hear from all the coaches. Also, you'll see the highlights of that Bishop Kelly game, which about the time Sports Plus is rolling around, probably will be about, what, Bart, into the first or second quarter? We expect a late one here. Tanner to boot it deep, and trying to do a tight wire act was Ray Garcia, but the official said no, he'll take it at the 20. So Garza will bring it up. Pretty athletic play there.
No, that's not bad. Anytime you can catch a kickoff or a punt overhanded like that, you're showing some pretty serious athletic ability. He's trying to do anything he can to keep that ball from going in the end zone so they can set up their return, but nothing going. The official right on the spot, his foot was touching the line.
Of course, we told you Highland's playing for its 3rd title in the last 4 years. This is an offensive unit that averages 440 yards a game, and on the season, 60 touchdowns. But in this game, just 2. The Centennial defense has been brilliant. Intercepted. Chris Jones with his 3rd interception of the season. But you'll put an asterisk by that one as the senior captures one from the opponent in the state championship game.
Oh, just a poor throw by Joe Green. There was really no one in the area except for Chris Johns. Look at it, here it is, the 3-step drop. Throws it to an area. I think he was expecting an in instead of an out. There's Chris Johns playing the zone, steps right into it.
Now, Bart, you're a guy that says, hey, after a turnover, punch it in the end zone.
I go right for the zone right now if I'm Swanson and Centennial.
Well, it looks like Kelly Frew either has a injury or an equipment problem, and I think he's just plain tired out.
Well, something's happening. Maybe, yes, there it is. Don Jensen, our producer, says to us it looks like he's hyperventilating, and I'd have to agree that he's having a little trouble controlling his breathing.
Well, and that's back what I said about dealing with the dome air. You practice, keep in mind, outdoors all season long, and then you come inside, and I don't know, what's the temperature near 60, 70 degrees when you're used to practicing outdoors?
It's a good 70, 75 degrees here. Add to the excitement and playing all these downs. He's on special teams, too. You know, that's a really scary feeling for a person. I've never hyperventilated myself, but I know what it's like to get the wind knocked out of you.
Sounds good, Bart. We'll be back in a minute. We believe that Abe Swenson has an S on his chest, not for Swenson, but Superman. Jeff, he changed jerseys to play tackle. Well, that's the case. We'll tell you that Swenson's now wearing number 78, the man that recovered a fumble and caught 2 touchdowns. Going deep is Forsey, and the ball was in and out of his hands. Brock Forsey nearly had his 10th touchdown receiving, his 2nd of the night. This was close, Bart.
It surely was close. Both players had a chance for the ball. Matt Swanson steps in there. He stays in the pocket. He's so calm. Throws a nice ball up. With both players going for the ball. No penalty. Abe Swenson getting coached on the sideline after he changed jerseys into number 78. His coach is telling him what to do. He looks like he hasn't played tackle too often.
Well, what a trooper, though. Going from his tight end slot to tackle where Kelly Frew just flat ran out of gas. Forsey pushing up to about the 4-yard line, and that was good that Swanson was able to recognize, hey, my tackle is just, he's played his heart out. He's done. I have a feeling we'll see Kelly Frew back in the lineup.
Yeah, as soon as he can get his breathing under control and get his wind back, I don't see why he wouldn't go back in. I think you need Abe Swenson there at tight end. He's got 2 touchdowns and recovered a fumble. You see him out there 78 now. I don't think he's really sure what to do with that tackle spot.
Well, you see how much time remains in this third quarter, 35-14. Centennial trying to get more after the interception by John. Swanson running, fires, intercepted. Oh, it's not. I'll tell you, it looked to me, Bart, we'll have to watch that again on the replay, that Watson picked that up, but it may have bounced off the turf.
Well, it did touch the turf. It looked like it was going to be a pick for a second, but he used the ground to keep the ball in his hands. Ergo, no interception.
Field goal, his longest of the season, a 42, and they're marking this one at the 33. So now Tanner with a chance to add to his record book with a 43-yard attempt, and you should be able to boot it a little further in the dome. Here's Tanner. The boot on the way. It's long enough, and he just missed it. It went to the right of the uprights, but he certainly had enough leg.
He sure did have enough leg, and after the play, he is so mad at himself. It's the 3rd time I've seen him grab his helmet. He knows he has leg enough, and he just hooked it a little bit to the right.
Well, Tanner wanted to punch that one through the uprights. On the season, he's 9 of 28. Jeff Caves is
Kelly Frew is going to come back into the game, guys. They're just calling it some hyperventilation. He wants back in, so watch for him for the next series for Centennial. Dave?
Well, it's one of those deals where you don't want to miss a game like this. I mean, even if you're all tired out, you want to get right back in the lineup.
Oh, there's no question that he's going to do everything he can to get back in this one.
Highland trying to get back in the ball game. It's complete to Wheatley, and Wheatley is shoestring tackle. And maybe saving some big yardage was Dan Rasmussen.
Dan Rasmussen did an unbelievable job on that play. Highland sets up the screen beautifully as the 3rd quarter ends.
Well, Centennial thinking if we can hold on one more quarter, we'll be looking into the lights, those spotlights. The final frame. Tonight they trail 35-14 with 12 minutes to go. Will they come back, or can Centennial hang on? The pass, he's batted away at a nice defensive play. Now they're going to throw the flag on Ben Sparrow. So it looked like Sparrow had the nice defensive play on Jacob Jones, but the officials said no.
Well, let's see on the replay here. Joe Green drops back and rips a really nice ball here. Throws it in. I'm not so sure about this interference call.
Pass interference against the defense. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Our Jeff Caves is on the sidelines. Jeff, what's it like in the Dome for the players that haven't played in the Dome air? Are they fatigued?
Yeah, Matt Swanson admitted it. He said they're used to playing in cold weather, and he said this Dome is starting to get to us. Yeah, I'm very tired, and if we can make it 12 minutes, then we'll win it.
Pass is up and caught. Davenport goes way in the air and brings it down into Centennial territory.
Well, a nice throw by Green and a gutsy catch by Davenport. He catches this one blind right down the seam. He knows there's a safety coming, and at any point, he could be looking out his ear hole, but he does a great job here.
So it's enough for a first down. The clock continues to roll. 11 minutes, 42 seconds remaining in this game. The Rams, the #1 team in the state of Idaho. For the most part, Centennial is the #2 team, but they're trying to swap that on the last night that it really counts. Wheatley with a one-handed grab, and then he pushes it all the way up to the 32-yard line, a pickup of about 13.
Well, that screen was set up beautifully by Highland. Two guards, the guard and the tackle, release, pull out, and what a grab by Wheatley. Ty Wheatley is a serious athlete. He's going to get some looks by some colleges. I think he's a guy who's shown tonight that he is a big-time player.
Well, he had a pretty good running back last year, Troy Bell, who's now with Idaho State. But when you watch Joe Green, I don't know how he gets back in the pocket the way he's hobbling. Fires it up. There's Wheatley, catches the little dump, and he's off to the races. And he just runs over the top of people and picks up 11 yards.
That's, oh, now he's hobbling a little bit. But what a nice play. A well-executed play. It's the same deal. It's a screen. You roll left, throw back to the right to Wheatley. And watch him break tackles and run guys over here. Let him do it himself.
11 minutes remaining. 35-14. The football is spotted at the 19 of Centennial. The Rams trying to punch one in, bringing it a little bit closer. And Ray Garza with the carry. Garza kind of changes up the look from the guy that'll bull you over to a guy that kind of sidesteps, bobs and weaves.
Well, Ty Wheatley's on the sideline, and I can see him. He's limping noticeably. He's walking back and forth. He's got a trainer looking at him. If he can't come back in the game, that's a huge, huge blow to this Highland offense.
Puts more heat on the quarterback, Joe Green, who just could barely get around, throws it up for grabs. Incomplete. You know, right before Joe Green let that ball go, he was just unloaded on as Scott Lee came up and popped him hard.
Well, Scott Lee's a guy I expected to hear a little bit more from this game. Fights off the block of Garza well. Plants his face right into Joe's chest. Joe's hurting, and you got to give it to this kid. He is in noticeable pain, but nothing's going to stop him from trying to get his team back in this game.
We'll have to send Jeff Caves to the other side of the football field to see what's wrong with Wheatley. A little screen pass to Davenport. He's to the 5 and brought down right at that yard line. As making the stop was Matt Ferguson. That's a nice looking play for Highland.
That's the middle screen. We saw Nevada run it early in the year. We've seen Boise State run it for years. Right to the middle, thrown behind the line of scrimmage so the lineman can block downfield. Nice little catch by Davenport.
Of course, tomorrow the Idaho State Bengals will be in action on this field, taking on Weber State. Saw some of the Idaho State coaches out here before this game, getting ready for the Wildcats tomorrow.
Talked to Chris Kulig, former Boise State coach. Wants to say hello to all his friends in Boise.
The pass to Davenport, just off the fingertips.
And Joe Green is so upset at himself right now. He knew he had a touchdown with Davenport, and he just laid him out too much. Here's the reverse angle. Joe Green sees Davenport wide open, lets her go. Just a skosh too far.
Well, if it's any consolation, Wheatley's back in the ball game, but he's all taped up. The right ankles for the Highland key guys are all wrapped up, and Wheatley fumbles the ball and somehow manages to gather it in, and it'll bring up a 3rd down and goal at the 9.
He recovers the ball at the 9-yard line.
Very fortunate here. He's got his eyes downfield, and you've got to make sure you've got that pitch, and you saw his head up. He was looking at the defender before the pitch got there, and that's what you call running before you got the ball. Very fortunate that he fell on that one.
Well, I don't think it's any mystery, Bart, on 3rd and 9. This is 4-down territory for the defending state champions. They're trying not to be dethroned. Centennial's trying to pull the crown. Fire to Davenport, touchdown! Oh, what a pass and catch. A 9-yard toss from Green to Davenport, and just like that, Highland looked like to be down and out. They're right back in it.
What a nice throw by Joe Green. 7-step drop, hurting badly. Still throws a perfect strike to Davenport, right on the corner, touchdown. You cannot count Highland out at any point in any ball game.
Ryan Kemp for the extra point try. Now, I suppose if that is on Centennial, that Highland may ponder going for 2.
Flag before the snap. Offsides against Centennial.
So as a coaching staff, do you say we're a little bit closer? Let's go for 2?
Well, the way it works out, they're down 2 touchdowns after this is over. 3 touchdowns after this is over, and it's an even number. So I don't really see the point of going for 2 numerically.
Dead ball foul, encroachment against the defense, penalties accepted, half the distance to the goal, untimed down.
And they brought in their offensive unit, and they are going for 2. Maybe they think they're going to score those 3 touchdowns and be ahead by 1.
If you get 2 here, you get a chance to pop in another. If you were to get 2 touchdowns, they get the 2 points chance to win it. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. They go for 2, ends up being an 8-point swing, 35-22. This one far from over. 8:59 remaining. The Patriots trying to hang on. The Rams trying to push their way back in.
Want performance? Want fuel efficiency?
Dave Tester along with Bart Hall and Jeff Caves after the touchdown. The ball game has changed, 35-22, and a couple of touchdowns, and now all of a sudden you're thinking 36-35. I'm sure the Patriots are thinking the other way, but the immediate concentration is on the kickoff. Do you go for the onside or do you boom it deep?
Well, during the commercial, I sure noticed that the Highland coaches were in an intensive huddle with their kickoff unit, along with Centennial, who has put out their hands team, including Matt Swanson, the quarterback, who's up on the front line.
Score just in from Lewiston. The Bengals taking on Bonneville, leading it 21-3. That's the A1 Division II state championship game. Bengals with coach Nick Manigas trying to capture a state title. Last week they defeated Eagle to move into that game. I have to give my old high school coach a plug. So they decide to boot it deep, and with only 1 man back, you better hope that Forsey gathers it in, and he does just that, spinning and turning his way up to the 27-yard line, and that's where Centennial will take over. So the guess is on the Highland side is defense, you've got to step up to play.
Well, that wasn't an onside kick, but it surely was planned to bounce to the receiver. Hopefully they would get a weird bounce and the receiver wouldn't be able to get it. Here he kicks it. He doesn't kick it deep. He kicks it low and just over the head of the second line there to Forsey, and he's hoping for a bounce. You know, footballs bounce weird sometimes, but he got a perfect bounce for Forsey. If that bounce is weird, goes past Forsey, you've got Highland flying down the field. maybe to jump on it in the end zone.
8 minutes, 54 seconds remaining in this ball game. Centennial leading at 35-22. It seemed like they had it in the bag, but Highland came back to answer the last score. Forsey with that carry goes up to 144 yards on the ground. A couple of touchdowns for the junior, who certainly will have to be considered one of the very best in the state come next season, if he's not already.
Well, without a doubt. He's got 8.5 minutes left until his team are state champs. He's got to carry the load here. He may be tired, but I think he realizes it's only 8.5 more minutes. He gets himself a state championship ring.
Well, if he can guarantee his team 4 yards of carry like he had right there, they can literally give him the ball on every play. Swanson in trouble, still manages to elude the defenders and pick up 3 or 4 yards. That could have been disaster.
Boy, his mobility reminds me of the athletic ability of Tony Hildy. I know that you see it too when he's corralled up in the backfield. 3 or 4 guys have a shot at him. Here's a little bootleg with the guard pulling. He's forced to pull up. Doesn't see anybody. Watch this. 1, 2, 3, 4 guys have a shot at him, and he still manages to pick up positive yards.
Well, if you missed it earlier, we told you that the likes of Arizona State, the University of Washington have scheduled on-campus visits for Swanson. So he certainly is of that caliber. On 3rd and 4, the crowd here trying to become a factor. Option to Forsey. He's got to get it up to the 37, and he's not going to do it. And here, I don't think there's really a big decision. You punt it away in this situation, but you at least have to think maybe we go for it on 4th and 2.
I don't
Probably
think so.
not.
With a lead like they have right now, I think it's out of the question. But you see Highland there, they practice against the option all year against their own teammates, and then it's automatic with them. One guy, I got the quarterback, another guy, I got the back.
So Swanson will step back to his 22-yard line to boot the football. Here's a good look at the senior, who does double duty on this team, averaging just about 40 yards a punt. His longest a 60-yard boomer. And taking the fair catch will be Davenport at the 33-yard line, or check that, the 28-yard line. We're on the what are we, Bart? We're clear on the other side of the dome, about on the 30-yard line, so kind of looking around some students. Of course, all we have to do is look at our fine monitor. Pictures from our producer, Director Don Jensen, our Channel 6 crew, making their way to Pocatello, hoping you're enjoying this game. Of course, we'll all head back tomorrow to bring you the Bishop Kelly game at 10:30 in the morning, the Boise State Idaho pregame at 12:30, and then the big one at 1:30, the Broncos and the Vandals. What a play! Intercepted by Nick Bolin, and he's off to the races! Nick Bolin with his second interception of the season, and this one goes in for the touchdown. That may have sealed the deal. Whoa, what a play.
Well, they went to this little screen pass once too often. Nick Bolin, visor and all, skies and grabs it. And you always wonder about guys that wear visors. Little showboat? Oh, yeah.
The Dion dance for Nick.
That's a 15-yard penalty. Let's see where it's, let's see where they tack it off.
Touchdown. Dead ball foul. Unsportsmanlike conduct on the scoring team. 15-yard penalty assessed on the extra point.
So it goes from a chip shot extra point to a bit of a field goal here for Centennial.
I was going to say, they can't take the touchdown away from him. You can't have a guy go in and then penalize him, pull it away, as long as it's not an infraction on the way in. But it may be one of those, if you end up winning the ball game, which the Patriots are looking in pretty good position, it's like, you know what, that might have been my last big play of my football career, and I want one to remember.
Why not?
So it's a 35-yard attempt on the extra point. No good. And Tanner has missed 2 in a row. Not 2 extra points, but basically that looked like a field goal. But the interception for the touchdown has the Patriots thinking state title. 6.5 to go. They lead at 41-22. What we are hoping, at least the Centennial faithful, is a history-making night. Parma already making its first trip to the state title game, capturing the championship. Of course, Centennial has been here before, but this group was definitely the underdogs. I could remember going to the banquet at the beginning of the summer, and the guys said, our goal is to get there. And even if Highland trips us up early on in the season, we want to come back and show what we're made of. Well, right now it appears that they're made of Cinderella stories. 41-22. And that will be Highland's ball at the 20. And Bart, you had to figure Centennial certainly had a shot, but did you think they would be up 41-22 with 6.5 minutes to go?
Well, I don't think too many people that are in the know about high school football would have said that this game was going to be like this in any way. Everyone knew that if Highland could stay close, Centennial could stay close, they could make a game of it. But I think the Centennial coaches and players had one up on everyone else, knowing that they really believed that they could have a game like this.
Passes across the middle, intended for Proctor, batted away. Don't forget, if you're waiting for 2020, that will be up next on Channel 6 and will be followed by